Let me introduce my panel next. Otis Sanford is ABC24's political analyst. Susan Adler Thorpe is a political consultant with Thorpe Communications. And Reverend Keith Norman is pastor of First Baptist Broad. All right, the Tacos-n-Ganas story really was the dominant headline of the entire week. And it just kind of brought home what we've been hearing about is going on nationally. And of course, no place is going to be immune from this crackdown. And what struck me about this, first of all, Otis, was the video. We don't know if we've seen the whole video, but the video that we have gotten from the owner is some guys who don't appear to be wearing any ICE jackets or any kind of identification. We don't see them showing any identification, wearing hoodies, and taking some of the workers away. What are your thoughts about how all this went down? I mean, the city did acknowledge that they were Homeland Security folks who were conducting this raid.
Well, first of all, we shouldn't be surprised. The voters elected a president who said a long time ago that he was going to crack down on illegal immigration.
This is what Americans want.
This is what Americans, obviously by the election, and especially in Tennessee, which went for Donald Trump with 64% of the vote. So we shouldn't be surprised by that. But here's where we should be, and we are not. We are not adhering to due process. We are not adhering to the rule of law. And we are almost becoming like a third world country, where if you go in there and there's any infraction, you know, they grab you, throw you in jail, and forget that you were there. And then even in Russia, that's what they're doing. Do we want to be that? I say no, but that is where we are headed right now. It is unconscionable to me, no matter how you agree or disagree about illegal immigrants and they should be deported, everybody should be treated fairly. The Constitution says treat people fairly whether you're a citizen or not. That means due process. That means arresting people in the right way and letting people know who you are when you arrest them. That did not happen here, and it's shameful.
I honestly believe if you were to conduct a civics test and ask the average American, is a non-American citizen entitled to the same rights as American citizens, most people would disagree with what you just said.
I agree with that, but that's somebody who probably never took a civics class in school, does not know, especially the 14th Amendment, and so we have what we have. People have voted for a man who said we're going to get rid of them no matter what, and every states, especially like Tennessee, they are adhering to that.
But the pushback is you do have a substantial number of people living in Memphis and Tennessee, around the country, who have been here illegally, and many people see taking advantage of the system for quite some time, and they should go back to where they came from.
Do it the right way, though. Show up with ICE jackets so you know who they. What if they thought these guys were criminals out to rob them, and they pulled their guns and shot them? What do you think would have happened? They would have, you know. I shudder to think what would have happened.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about.
All right, Susan and Reverend Keith, tell me what your
Well,
takes are.
just quickly, I mean, I think that all three of us are probably going to be on the same page on this one, but when you say that the vote, this is what the American people want, no. Not this American people. I didn't vote for that. And I think a lot of people who did vote for the current president did not vote for this behavior out of Washington either. Right. So I would argue that, no, this is not what the American people want. You know, let me even, when I saw that video, I was very disturbed. I was disturbed for the men who, if you notice, they were mindful enough to go and turn off the stove.
Yeah, let's show that again if we can. There we go.
I mean, no wonder the employer likes them. But I was in a local restaurant just yesterday and having lunch, hamburger place with a girlfriend, when 3 Memphis policemen walked in, dressed all in black, with those big vests on the front and the back, said police on it, and everyone looked up, and the chills that went down my back, a little bit of fear. And I'm wondering, who are they here for? And that's the country we're living in right now. And Otis, you're right, it's wrong.
Your take not only the Tacos-n-Ganas, but then there's other stuff. The state legislation saying kids who are children of immigrants aren't entitled to a free education, etc.
Well, first of all, Greg Diaz is a good friend of mine, the owner of Tacos-n-Ganas, and I really, my heart goes out because I know he does great work in the community and also in helping immigrants. What is confusing about this to me is that the issues have been mixed. They said this was about him and a tax problem that he had versus immigration or the people being there. And then they tried to come back and tie the two things together. I thought that was very unfair. And then the next concern that I have about this is the tone that we're setting for Americans around the globe. When we travel and when we're in other spaces, people begin to look at Americans and they begin to have a sense of hatred towards people because of the things that are going on in the United States. And so I'm very concerned that when people go to places like Mexico or when they go to the Caribbean, or not the Caribbean always, but other spaces, they're going to be looked at and treated differently. Bringing it to home, we took an immigration bill and we brought it into a special session, tied it between two very critical issues, relief, resources in the eastern part of Tennessee, which was very, very important. And we knew that those mayors there needed that money to rebuild their communities. So the conversation became support the voucher bill so that we can get this particular thing. Immigration was sandwiched in there, and it was one of the issues that we just went straight down the list and voted for, where we should have really taken a stand and said there needs to be some handles on how we deliver this particular issue of reform.
Now, I'd be remiss not to mention that Mr. Diaz, the owner, was in trouble under the Biden administration with the feds, and that investigation is ongoing.
Be that as it may, but to mix this particular thing and to use that as leverage to go in and get people was the concern that I had. I said, deal with Mr. Diaz on Mr. Diaz's business in court.
Let me ask a real quick question of my colleague here and the pastor. What do you tell your congregation when they see this on TV? How do you talk to your parishioners about the morals of all this, of just taking people off the street? It's a frightening thing. How do you counsel them?
Well, I deal with it straightforward. First of all, Jesus would have been an immigrant. I think he was hidden in Egypt as a baby, and so he had to cross the border to be somewhere and be protected. And so let's think about that. And that's just the truth. I mean, right? You take and we want to say what we want to say. He obviously fit in with the audience pretty well as an olive-skinned kid who was able to blend in. He wasn't blonde and blue-eyed. So let's look at that part. But the other part is that we have to be one on these issues. This would have been African Americans just a few years ago or in many spaces. And so we have to be very clear. I have to be supportive of my Jewish friends when they experience things of this magnitude, and people all over the world. We don't want people to be disenfranchised and mistreated in any way in an immoral fashion.
And Richard, very briefly to your point about the education piece on this, the Supreme Court spoke on this in 1982 and said that even if you're an immigrant in this country and an undocumented immigrant, you still have a right to an education. The Supreme Court decided that. Right. And it was during the Reagan administration when this happened. And there was no pushback because Reagan implemented it. His administration implemented this. And so now we're taking a total 180 on that. And I don't know what the Supreme Court is going to do, but I do believe it's going to wind up in court. And the precedent may be changed because of this Supreme Court.
And fast forward to today, where MSCS was concerned enough about what's going on and the possible threat of agents showing up at schools that they've sent out letters to parents, and they have noticed a drop in attendance where there's a heavy Latino population at those schools because parents are worried. They don't want their kids to be
It's a frightening time.
deported. All right.